What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some new Resident Evil 8 details. Now, it feels like every couple of weeks, we normally talk about this game, and that's good. I really do enjoy talking about this game, and, there seemed to have been the largest push in the world, right, that April was going to be that month that RE8, or the next Resident Evil game, which would be Resident Evil 8, would get announced. Now, that has not happened, but again, we have new details, right, from Aesthetic Gamer, which is the person that's really leaked a ton of this stuff in the past. I don't know what he's talking about in terms of the Silent Hill thing. I feel like he messed up a couple of the words in the tweet. I'll show both the tweets as we're talking about it. Ignore the Silent Hill part, although I will read it just because I don't really know what he's getting at. I don't know much on Silent Hill I haven't shared, but it's literally, this is how it says, but it's revealed soon. So I'm looking forward to it. He messed up there. I still believe it and this part too, I still believe it from what I was shown, but I do have a healthy skeptic in me. No, I mean, I'm going to skip that. RE8, I'm excited for the reveal. It's by far the darkest and most gruesome Resident Evil yet. Then somebody asked him, he said, I need info, please. And Aesthetic Gamer says, get ready for some of the most disturbing enemy designs in the Resident Evil series. Now, that's pretty cool. Now, what do we know about Resident Evil just in general? I mean, Resident Evil 7, I would say, really upped the horror. It really did. You could go back and you could play the originals. And at the time, Resident Evil 7, we didn't have RE2 or RE3's remake yet, right? We just had RE7. And I think, in my opinion, now I played Resident Evil 4. I love Resident Evil 4. I would say 7's the scariest one. I played part of it in VR. You know how they had like the Sony deal with like PlayStation VR? I tested it just to see like what it was like. Oh my God. I mean, it was terrifying. And I should also say, though, I am kind of a big baby when it comes to horror games. I love them. I think they're very cool. They're very different. In fact, I think we talked about this a few days ago with the game The Medium, right? The game that was shown at Inside Xbox. I love it. I love a lot of horror games, pretty much just for premise or just for whatever they're trying to go for, right? You can pretty much count me in for them. It's just that I am a scaredy cat, and I do get scared very, very easily. I would say, though, Resident Evil 7 was the scariest Resident Evil game. I would go so far to say that. Was it the scariest game ever? No. I think around the exact same time was Outlast 2 as well, or maybe a little bit after that. So it's not the most terrifying game in the world, but I would say they definitely went on the side of let's make it very scary. And then obviously we've gotten Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3's remake right afterwards, and it's interpretations. It's a remake of the games that have already been made, obviously, but I would say they've continued to go in that horror trend. So it's not surprising, but it's good to hear. And again, the darkest and most gruesome. Now that doesn't necessarily, I guess, mean scary. Then he also talks about disturbing enemy designs. Sometimes I guess if you say something is disturbing, you could say it's scary. I guess those and gruesome and things like that, they're not necessarily the same word, although darkest, I guess that means more like grounded and like realistic, which again could come off as any of the other words, gruesome, disturbing, scary, any of that kind of stuff. And again, I wonder if he's specifically talking about the enemy designs or the whole idea, because we know, again, like ghosts could be in this game, hallucinations, there was talk of werewolves, which I believe are still in this game, so there's going to be a whole lot of enemy types in this game, or just a lot of things going on, which I honestly think is good. I feel like the hallucination / ghost thing is the more horror oriented, whereas the things like maybe werewolves and the other kind of enemy designs like this guy is talking about, maybe that is where the gruesome or the disturbing thing comes into mind. Again, I feel like they're definitely, and I guess again you could argue, remember the dinner scene, right, the classic dinner scene in like Resident Evil 7, they were definitely going, and even when you like cut off your own you're cutting off limbs of your body pretty much, like that, I guess you could say it's not necessarily scary. That is more just like disgusting or gruesome or gory or whatever word you want to. I got to be careful with these words for YouTube in general, but those are like the words, right, you'd probably throw around. Not all of Resident Evil 7 was scary. There were also parts where it was, you could argue, gruesome, graphic, whatever word you want to use. So I think that it sounds like, and honestly, that is good news, because here's what I'll say too, to kind of cap it off. Resident Evil, this game, again, Resident Evil 8 or Village, right? If it's going to be called Village, and we've talked about that in the past. Remember, this game was intended to be Revelations 3. They injected, now this is just from leaks, so maybe this isn't necessarily, maybe we find out later that was all a lie and made up. But yet again, those were all coming from the same people that are telling us this stuff now. So I guess you have to always take everything with a grain of salt. But again, remember, this game was originally intended to be Revelations 3. They were making Revelations 3, and then they injected Resident Evil 8's story and like Ethan and all that kind of stuff. They injected it into it because remember, there was a Resident Evil 8 that was being worked on, but it's had a lot of troubles. Whether that has now become Resident Evil 9, which I had said I assume that's what would happen, but we also know the Resident Evil 4's remake will probably happen like right afterwards. A lot of different things are going to happen, right? But you remember, and when I say all that kind of stuff, I only say it to bring it up because that is a little worrying, because if a game is trying to be one thing and then you make it when it's already pretty far in development, when you try and make it something else, even though again, like, it's in the same franchise, like they're all Resident Evil, but there are differences between the Revelations, part and then the actual Resident Evil, right? They're actually just how you even control them, stuff like that. They are very different, right? They are very, very different. So that can be a big problem. But it sounds like the more we're hearing about this game, again, could there be issues? Yeah, there absolutely. I mean, there can be a lot of problems, but it sounds like from everything we've heard that it really, I mean, again, from all these key words that he just threw around, sounds like it is a natural progression from Resident Evil 7. So it doesn't sound like it's been the hardest thing in the world to, again, inject it and really make it RE8. Especially, I guess you could argue, if Revelation 3 was already going to be like that, and then again, they just added Ethan, they added that storyline, all that kind of stuff. If they just did that, then obviously it's not hard at all. So I think that's good news. I think, obviously it adds a little bit more to what we can expect from the game, it being all those words. But to me, if I'm reading very, very deep into this, and maybe nobody else is reading this deep and nobody should, but I will, I think that this shows, this kind of calms me down a little bit, right? Not that I was like, oh my, like staying up in the middle of the night wondering, if they'd be able to pull this off. But again, when you try and make one game another game, even though it's in the same franchise, there can be mistakes. But it sounds like everything still feels like it's a natural progression from 7 to 8. And so I think that they're on the right track. And I hope we hear about it soon. They announce these games fast, and if they want one to come out every single year, you would expect them to do it. Remember, I guess the track is Resident Evil 8 Village would be next year, and then Resident Evil 4's remake would be following year, 2022. So they normally announce them right away. So I would expect over the next month or two, or even at some point during Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, I could see Capcom being part of it. They're not on, I don't believe they're on phase 1, but I could see them definitely on like phase 2 or 3. I could see this being announced very, very, like within a month or two. I really could. But let me know, as always, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? When do you think we're going to see this game? Do you believe this? Does it sound, realistic that this game is going to be, upping those things? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I do a new video on this channel every single day, and so you can always expect a brand new video the next day, okay? As we get more Resident Evil stuff, I'll be sure to cover it here or on Podcast Now. Thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.